Welcome to Transformative Principal, where you learn how to be a leader and not just a manager of a to-do list. I am your host, Jethro Jones. You can find me on Twitter at Jethro Jones. Your to-do list is a hungry monster that is never satisfied. For the last year and a half, I've helped principals get awards, get promoted, and find the time to do the work that really matters. I recently opened a new mastermind slot. Schedule a call with me and let's overcome the stressed and isolated principal position together. Go to the show notes for this episode at transformativeprincipal.org and click Schedule a Call with Jethro. Welcome to Transformative Principal. Today, I am excited to have Larry Villiard, the principal of Bruce School. It's a whole school district, right, Bruce?
Correct.
Yeah, and it's a K-12 school in Wisconsin. So welcome and thank you for being part of Transformative Principal.
You are very welcome, Jethro. Excited to be on this. I haven't done this before, and so it'll be a new little journey for me.
Well, you know, this is one of the things that I love about doing this podcast is that all over the country, there are amazing principals doing awesome things, and they don't always have the opportunity to explain what they're doing to a broader audience. And I love it when I can talk to someone who's never done a podcast before. And I mean, most people probably don't know where Bruce, Wisconsin is, except that it's in Wisconsin. Is that probably pretty accurate?
That is probably very accurate.
And yet you're doing amazing things with your students. And so I'm excited to talk with you about that. So let's talk a little bit about your school and how it's set up so that people can understand that. And then we'll get into some of the things that you're doing that are pretty remarkable.
Sure. Yeah, and I never really think that things are remarkable or amazing here. I'm just very proud of a very talented and dedicated staff. Our school is located in northwest Wisconsin. It's very rural here in northwest Wisconsin. We have almost 70% students on free and reduced lunch, so it's a very high poverty area. We're in Rusk County, and we're the third poorest county in our state, which we're not proud of. But we are proud of our students and our staff and what has happened here over the years. I came here in 1995, and this is a K-12 school, pretty much one building. Our elementary wing is kind of separate, but it's all adjoined, and so our kids intermix with each other all day long. Our middle school is kind of contained in their core classes on an upper floor, but they also have to go down into the high school classes for their exploratories. But for years, when I first came here, we were a junior high, and then we really convinced staff and went and observed other schools to move to a middle school with 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. That's been one of the most positive changes we've made, along with some things that have happened in the last 10 years that I'm sure we'll get to. But that was a great change for us. I never realized how much that would change the culture of learning and improve attendance and discipline, just moving to a different schedule where our middle school students had a chance to explore high school classes that would become electives for them. So that was unique. But otherwise, we're a K-12 district, very small right now. Total in our school district, we have roughly 530 students. That's probably dropped 100 or more students in my 25 years since coming here. Just a sign of the times in northwest Wisconsin with declining enrollment. And so that's been a huge thing to overcome as a district and make things run efficiently and reduce staff, but still provide a sound education for our children. And so that's a little bit about our district, very rural. We have in the elementary 2 classes per grade. So there's 2 4K, 2 kindergarten, 2 first, etc., all the way to 5th. Our middle school now runs on a very unique separate schedule from everyone else. They have 80-minute block periods for all their core subjects, except for social studies and science that split that core time. But English and math run the full 80 minutes. Everyone else currently is on a 44-minute per day schedule, although our elementary also runs some extended core classes on their own. And next year, we'll all move to a trimester, and that'll increase core time in our high school to 60 minutes, which we think will be a very positive move as it was in the middle school. And we're excited about that. And our middle school will still continue on their unique 80-minute blocks.
Yeah. So just about that scheduling piece, thank you for going into all that detail. That's fascinating to me, and I really appreciate it. So on that 80-minute piece, a lot of people think that middle schoolers are squirrely and can't really handle that that sitting for that long. And yet you're making it work, in many schools across the country have those long 80-minute blocks. What do you see as the key to making that piece of it successful?
Oh, Jethro, absolutely. The key is your staff. Your staff is something they have to buy into. It's something they have to train and plan for. We had become a spotlight school about 10 years ago. That was a very unique, amazing journey for us. And so we had to invite at least 3 other schools to visit our middle school every year. We maintained our spotlight school status for 5 years. And it was during that journey, after becoming a professional learning community and moving to a distributive leadership model, that we went to visit other schools that we just weren't happy with where we were. And so we found this 80-minute core schedule for middle school. And our staff came back from that visit. They said, Larry, we want to do this. We want to give this a try. We just think it's the way to go, that we'd take away the study halls from our middle school students. We would have them. We would have them in our classroom. They probably wouldn't have to take homework out. We'd be with them for these 80 minutes. It would be so good for our college prep math, and so great to increase reading and writing. And I listened to them all, and I said, well, let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can schedule it. And we got together as a team, and we said, we can do this. We can make it work. And so we told the rest of our people, and we implemented it the following year. And oh my gosh, I would have never expected the total results we got, even in the first year. I hoped it would increase learning, but I was worried, just like, the question you had led into, is how do we keep middle school students contained for 80 minutes? And, because I know how squirrely they are, and everybody else does. But oh my gosh, our staff was so well planned. And, there's transitions in that 80 minutes. They're not just sitting there lecturing. There's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of projects. The transitions get them moving around a little bit. They work together more. It's more of a collective learning operation. And yet it allows that piece of homework with that teacher. They try to give those kids 20 minutes at least to get work done in math and English and with their reading. And it's been amazing. I never expected what it would do with discipline. Probably, I would say, back on average, before we went to this, I'd probably get 50 to 60 office referrals a year, in a given year, with the middle school. And it went down to practically zero. I mean, I just could never have believed what would happen. And what I really didn't ever think about was what would happen with failing grades. We'd had about probably 14% each quarter of kids that would fail a class. We went from that to 1%, and we've stayed right at 1%. It's amazing. We just don't go above 1% that fail, because it's almost like they can't. Their teachers aren't letting them fail. And it's been so wonderful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Going back to something you said early in the beginning about one of the benefits would be that you wouldn't have these study hall periods for kids. And that's something that, I think as educators, we've had this, this good desire to help kids learn study skills and use their time effectively. But the reality is that if we can't get all that work done in the class period, then we're doing something wrong. And one of those strategies is to have a longer class period and give them 80 minutes to be able to have that support from the teacher. But, it's misguided to think that, if you take the teacher away and give the kid more time to do it without support, that they're actually going to be successful, because they're learning. It's not like they already know how to do it.
Right.
They need that support. And so that's really amazing that you've seen all those changes from that kind of a structural change that, a lot of people would boo-hoo that and say that's not really what is causing it. But I think the other powerful piece of that is that your teachers came to you with that idea and said, this is what we need to be doing. And then we're invested in making sure that it worked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was the key. And I know when we start talking about our distributed leadership model in our professional learning community, you'll hear how this actually came together here. It really wasn't a total plan at first. It was a result of a predicament I was put into as a principal, but a vision that I had that one small little man can't make all the intelligent decisions for a school that has 45 talented people in it.
Yeah, that's a small little man can't make all the decisions. So let's talk about that distributed leadership. And also, a lot of people think that PLC is a meeting that you go to, and you did not define it that way. Can you talk to me more about how you see PLCs and what that means for your school?
Oh my gosh, Jethro, I wished I could go around the world and talk about that fact right there. You can't believe when we had all these spotlight visits. In some years, we had 4, 5, 6 schools coming to visit, and they would come in here and think our schedule that I prompted all these people to have this wonderful schedule, that we set this up. They couldn't believe that everybody just went about their business like we were. And I said, we didn't. I said, people know we're having visitors, but I said, there's nothing special planned. This is every day here. But to answer your question, what happened was in one school year, we lost our superintendent and elementary principal. So I knew that the school board was going to say, our enrollment's declined. You're going to have to be the K-12 principal. And I wasn't sure what they were going to do about hiring a superintendent. I knew they had to. I didn't know what kind of person we'd get. This was going to be the 4th superintendent I already had worked with. I had never been an elementary principal. I had spent 15 years at middle and high school. I was going to be moved out of my comfort level. And so I went to our elementary principal before he got to the end of the year. And I said, Dave, I think we need to start a leadership team. I said, you're leaving. Debbie's leaving. I said, there's so many bright people here. I said, I'm probably the least intelligent person on this staff. I said, I think we need to collectively get 4 teachers from elementary, 4 from middle school, 4 from high school, ask them to be part of a leadership team, and let us come together as a team and make these important decisions. He said, oh, God, I think it's a great idea. I said, you write down 12 people. I'm going to write down 12. Let's go ask them. Went and asked them. Every one of them agreed. So we sent them to a PLC workshop at our CISA that summer, and we were just so fortunate. Dr. Anthony Muhammad was the speaker. And oh my gosh, Jethro, if you could have seen 12 people, I get so emotional about this because it's changed our whole culture here. But anyway, they came back like new staff, like new people. They just stormed into my office. Larry, we have to do this. We have to do that. Got to see what we learned. We got to be totally focused on our students. We can do this. We can do that. And I had to calm them all down first. And I said, okay, let's just take one step at a time. I see the excitement here, the passion here. What do we need to do first? And they said, well, let's write a grant. Let's try to get Dr. Muhammad here and get all of our total staff sold on becoming a professional learning community, to be totally student focused, to drive our achievement by looking at real student data, and to set our expectations high for every student to learn. I said, hallelujah. I said, let's start working on it. And so that kind of started. We found out we were eligible to be the spotlight school. So we wrote a grant, and we were so fortunate. We won the grant for $100,000. We ordered this Learn by Doing book from the Do Force that has become our Bible for operating as a PLC. We were able to get Dr. Anthony Muhammad to come to our school for a 2-day workshop. We invited area schools. We invited everybody in our district, our custodians, our bus drivers, our board members, every staff member, every support staff member. And we started our journey. And, to finally answer your question about a PLC cannot be a set of meetings. I can't believe when I go to all these workshops that we've attended and the visits we've had and the sharing we've done that people talk about we have PLCs. We meet today and we meet tomorrow and we meet twice a week. And that is totally never entered our mind. Yes, we have team meetings, but a PLC has to become your culture. It has to become the way you do business, how you operate every day, that you share a collaborative journey, that you take what is working best and you eliminate what's not working. You have these crucial conversations, but you operate in this culture that cares about kids, that puts them first and uses real data. And so we have data days 3 times a year now for our staff. We take that data, it drives all of our interventions, and we've just come together as a staff to say our students are expected to learn at high levels. And if people could see where we were at in our CISA, I don't agree with this in Wisconsin. We rank our schools by achievement data, and I really wished we would just all share what works best and make every school better. But anyway, we're ranked. So at one time, we were ranked dead last in our CISA 10 district, which is 32 schools. We were last. Right now, for the last 5 years, we've been first. And it's just because of the goals we set, the staff dedication, and totally I attribute it to our coming together as a professional learning community, the professional development we've done, and the expectations we've set for our kids and the honest to God deserving celebrations we've had with them.
Yeah. So how long ago was this grant that you got where you started the PLC process?
It's been 10 years now when we got this. And so then we were 5 years as a PLC or as a spotlight school, which was really a wonderful opportunity. We got to share all over the state. I actually got to go to do a presentation to the Department of Public Instruction cabinet in the summer of 2012, I believe. That was really rewarding and neat for us, but we've just continued to operate under this culture. And when subs come here or new staff come here now, they've done their homework anymore and they say something, special going on here. How did you get to this or keep it going? And that always warms my heart. But I think it just came down to coming together as a staff and developing this shared leadership that brings out the best in everybody.
Well, that is where we're going to stop this interview with Larry Villiard. Next week, we're going to continue talking. We're going to talk about how he does shared leadership in his school, and I think you're going to really enjoy that. So be sure to tune in next week as we talk about how he recognizes that he is not the smartest person in the room and make sure that his teachers have the voice to make changes in the school. And you'll hear about a lot of things that have changed because of his teachers' desires for things to be better. So look forward to that next week. You can get the show notes for this at transformativeprincipal.org. And thank you so much for listening.